Hi everyone, Alistair Davies here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. Today's lesson is all about pitching and the three common things I see people do incorrectly that causes all our issues. The three reasons why you might mess up your pitch shots around the green. And how frustrating is it when you hit a great drive just short of a par 4 and then you go and dunch a chip or thin a chip through the back of the green. So today's really going to look at the three most common reasons why that happens and what you can do to change that. So if you are a first-time viewer, please consider subscribing or following me. I post videos every week and I'd love to have you on board for my journey. So keep watching to learn how. So as we said in the introduction, really we're looking at the three most common reasons why people mess up their pitches or chip shots. Two of them are pretty, I would say, well known. And the other one I'd say is more, it's not a newer concept, but I think it's an undiscovered concept. There are some of the best pitching coaches in the world who talk about this, but other than that, there's a lot of amateurs that wouldn't consider this at all. So basically the simple two things. One is what people do is the head tends to go back, and that makes the club bottom out too early, and then we get the big one where the divot kind of covers the ball. So that's the big thing. So basically the right side of the body goes back, the head goes back, in an attempt really to get the ball up in the air. So we definitely don't want to see that. The head should be kind of positioned at the start more towards the front of the ball, ideal world. Then when we're swinging back, it will move, if anything, a tad, but ideally nothing. And then on the way through, it's going to go forward slightly, not massively. We don't want to laterally lean forward too much, but it's certainly not going to work backwards. It is going to elevate, but which we'll come to that in a minute. The second thing I see is they get very, very active with the right hand, and this shaft would almost point outside the body over here. Now we definitely do want to use the bounce, but the shaft should definitely be leaning forward ever so slightly when we make contact with the ball. We are going to be using the club this way, so the bounce of the club is going to be activated, but it's more post-impact than it would be at impact for me. I would see far too many golfers doing this as opposed to doing this. I'd much rather the second version to be consistent. If we are very talented, we can start to get the shaft pointing pretty much at our belly button at contact very neutrally to get a bit more elevation and spin, but that takes more skill. The third reason is to do with the radius of the swing. And what I tend to see, even with people with pretty good actions, is if the radius goes down, because they're trying to almost dig the ball out the ground, so you imagine I'm on the stick here, that radius is skimming that stick, which is ideal. If I went down, the sound changes. Now that will mean I'm going to hit the ground before the ball, generally speaking. Because if the radius goes down, all of a sudden the ground appears to get to me quicker. And if that happens, the moment of inconsistency increases massively. So basically the amount of ability to compensate is not there. So if I have the radius high, even if I tended to flip it a little bit, I'm going to hit the ball slightly thin. It's not going to be disastrous. Whereas if my radius is low, I'm going to be hitting the ground back there, divot over the ball goes 3 foot, and we all look a bit of a mess. So the radius is key. So how do we stop doing these things? Well, the key for me is a little drill like this is also good. Just let the right foot come onto his toe and back. This will help us feel the head moving forward. So that's a nice drill for that. The hands, just try and feel we keep the hands wide in the finish. That'll stop our right hand being too active. So the idea would be we'd hit some shots and we feel this kind of stiffness to the fall through. And the radius control, we're going to talk about elevating. And what I mean by that is when we hit the pitch, try and feel that our belt line and our head actually move up. So we actually extend, and that'll help us get that brushing on the ground, and again measure it. So in the practice swings, we're looking to measure that ground, find that ground. Don't take a trench out the ground. Try and get the club and grass interacting ever so slightly and elevate at the same time. If you can perfect the wide hand and elevation, you will be a successful pitcher. No doubt about it. Let's just show you one of those shots. So you see there, no divot whatsoever, nice and clean contact, Really tried to show the elevation to you then to demonstrate it, and I might have got it half a groove lower than I want to. The shot's pretty good, I'd be pretty happy with that. It's on a little bit of a swale here, so the ball runs out quite a lot. But in terms of the technique, I'd be pretty happy with that, the wide technique. And it's safe. And ultimately what you want to do initially is get consistency with your contact and flight, get the ball on the green and give yourself an opportunity to get up and down. As we get better, you might manipulate this more to give shots with more spin, more run out, lower or higher. But stage one is kind of understanding the things that will go wrong when they do go wrong, and what to do to make you a successful, consistent pitcher to improve your scores and lower your handicap ideally. But realistically, just lower your scores. Don't waste opportunities from here, and make sure we get up and down more often than not. Hope you've enjoyed this video on pitching and the common mistakes I see. If you have, please click like, please share the video. I really appreciate if you could do that. It really helps my channel and it really helps me. Please also join the conversation and chat down below. Ask me any questions, and also any requests you have for any videos, please post them down below also. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Again, the idea in the channel is all about lowering your scores and improving your golf and your knowledge. So please hit my logo down the bottom corner. Join me on my journey and let's try and improve your golf. Lastly, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, thanks for the support, and see you again here soon.